all of us should be doing everything you can every day. It's not halfway. It's like you should be doing everything you can every day to go make a better life for yourself. And there's a lot of people wish they had the opportunities that we do. And if you're not obsessing about something like that, then somebody else is. If you don't want to be that guy, it's just a self-selection. If you're not going to obsess about things like that, then well, somebody else is. And they're probably going to get better results. And one of my most joyous areas of smugness in my life, I'm a pretty warm, empathetic guy for people that get to know me well, but I'm sure I seem extraordinarily smug on the surface. But the part of me that really is smug, that really feels, entitled and happy to look down upon others, is people that came from a better situation than I did, and then did a lot less with it. And the world is abundant with people that had it better than many of us did. And this is not a place to tell we're not going to hear cry and be victim bitches, But I think many of you would appreciate this comment, or you have your own version of it. Is like, have you not seen people that just quite objectively, they had a lot better situation than you did in some area, and just did just about nothing with it. And then through some hard work and effort and so on, you go turn that around and got a much higher level skill set in that area than they did. At one time you wish that you had their situation, and later on you surpassed them so much that you kind of even feel bad for them. Does that make sense to you? Who else has some story like that? Yeah. So, no, that's what it is, man. The shortcut to that is what he said is, the shortcut to that is like, just be resigned that if you want professional results at something, you're going to have to engage in exceptional behavior. So you're going to have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. You have to. That's what's required. And and then get the best trainers and get the best coaches. If you're serious about it, like, if your goals are so small, you could do them by yourself. You need bigger goals, man. If your goals are so small, you could possibly accomplish them by yourself. You're really fucked. You're putting yourself in a bad spot where you might accomplish your goals, but it's not going to be anything near what you could have accomplished. It's not going to be anything near who you could have been. And I would really suggest to you, however old you are right now, that you're going to have a lot more fun in the next decade ahead of you than like the last decade of your life. Probably going to have a lot more fun in your next decade than in your last decade. For a lot of people, it's medical bills and doctors' visits, and that's if you're relatively healthy. So that's not much fun. So I really, really want to get the most out of it. I want to be harder on myself in some ways, but also what he said is that fun component, which I also totally agree with, is like the guys that are going to get the best results in business, you got a good team around you. Why don't Tim Cook run Apple by himself, man? Why don't he just do the whole thing by himself? How come Tim Cook didn't sell you your iPhone? Man, you got to build a team. It's $1 trillion company. If you're going to run $1 trillion company, you're going to have a team, huh? You're not going to do it by yourself. So it's, there's really a narcissism and a stupidity of somebody who thinks like, I'm going to do it all by myself. I'm going to figure it out. I said, no, you're not. And, the commonality of the type of guys that are worth writing a biography about, the type of commonalities that I kept seeing was like, these people valued, they were good at building teams. People that got a lot of money or conquered some shit somewhere, conquered a nation or conquered a group of people, or built a significant business, et cetera, et cetera. What are the attributes of these people? Oh, they were good at, they had a strong work ethic, a strong sense of discipline or adherence to values or goals. They thought about their values or goals. They had a lot of integrity in living in accordance with those values and goals. They had a strong work ethic. They valued education, and they were good at building teams. They were good at having teams around them that had shared values and goals so they could go do shit together, Now, this would be success. This would be the pattern for success, whether you were a business leader or, a cult or a gang organization like a street gang, or any organization, any small group of people that are going to be successful within their environment. Guess what? You're going to have those attributes. You're going to have similar thoughts and values, similar goals, similar values, strong work ethic, integrity and adherence to those goals and values. When things are difficult, you're still going to behave that way in alignment with those goals and values. You're going to get an education, and you're going to have a lot of teamwork and help each other. You're going to be cooperative within that organization. And the people that don't do that aren't successful. And I just really took that to heart, that anything that I wanted to do after that, well, that's what a team is too. That's what a sports team is. Could you have a successful sports team with missing any one of those attributes that I said? Would that be a successful team? It can't be. So I just thought I really took that to heart. It's like, oh, I don't want to spend time with anybody, not even if they pay me. I don't want to spend time with anybody that doesn't understand that like those things are prerequisites. And when you talk to, I have several friends. My business partner in real estate, my primary business partner was an ex-NFL player, multi-time national champion athlete, MVP of his team, blah, 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 blah. Went to the NFL, was injured. He's injured after a few years. So, that close to a Super Bowl, no Super Bowl ring. Yeah, it's just, you just say they show up and you practice. You got there before anybody else to practice. And, at the college level, you're there before everybody else. You're there after they go home. You listen to what the coaches tell you. You do exactly what the coaches tell you. You get more advice. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? When you're not on the field, you have visualization experiments or visualize it in your mind. What does it look like? And feeling that in your body. What does it look like to do the thing? What does it feel like to do the thing? And visualizing the permutations of where it goes wrong and how it goes wrong and how do I make it right and what else can I do and what else can I do. And by the time you're intellectually, I think this is true of all sports or contact sports at least, by the time you're intellectually sophisticated enough to be at the top of your game intellectually and you have the neural pathways in order and so on, your body's also suffered an accumulation of injuries by that time. And I think you'll agree with this. Like a champion is not somebody who's like 100% on game day. A champion is somebody that, if they're lucky, if things went well, they were 85% healthy on game day. They were at 85% of their peak, and they were just psychologically tougher than their competitor was at that moment. Some of you guys might be thinking like, oh, it's got to be perfect. I got to be in the right mood and the perfect. It's not perfect, man. A fucking professional person or a champion, for fuck's sake, it's not perfect on game day. It's not perfect when you got the fucking the winning touchdown or the winning point, or it's not going to be perfect and beautiful. It's going to be like, despite many externalities, despite a lot of chaos and noise and frustration and so on, it worked out. It worked out despite all of those things because of the coaching and the training that a person had on the front end. You did all the work on the front end. You do all the work on the front end to prepare to earn that spot. It shouldn't be shocking to anybody that that's just how it is. It's just you're building those neural pathways. It's just a muscle, man. It's just a muscle. Guys that don't want to do that, it's all right, but they're just opting out to have a lower quality life than you're going to have, lower quality life than I'm living. Make us look better by comparison. That's cool. I appreciate that. So anything new that I want to learn, you ain't got enough time left in your life. Anything new that I want to learn, I want the best coaches, I want the best training, I want to get, that is the shortcut. Find a subject matter expert, they can help you with something. When you guys get sick, you go to talk to a doctor, or you just talk like the homeless dude out here on the beach somewhere, like a bum laying on the beach. He said, man, I'll figure it out by myself. I'm gonna consult with this guy. He ain't gonna fucking charge me $80 like the doctor would have. Fucking doctors want $80, yo. Fucking this dude on the beach will talk to me for free. I'm gonna ask his opinion about this fucking, my arm turning funny colors and shit. And what does that red line mean, this foot? It means you got a blood infection and you're about to die. You just talk to some bum on the beach, man. You rather have like free laser eye surgery or like $10,000 laser eye surgery? With no other information, would you rather have free laser eye surgery or $10,000 laser eye surgery? What would you prefer? It sounds great, don't it? With no other information, I'd just be like, it's just a laser on your eyeball, bro. Nothing important. You can't. It's a combination of you're going to be hard on yourself in one respect of to be driven to wake up and go do shit whether you feel like it or not. You're going to. People like me, you and I, we don't have that problem so much, or at least in some areas we don't have that problem. Some areas we're real good at, you're going to wake up and go do difficult things that most people wouldn't want to do. and you put a smile on your face, and a sincere smile on your face. After I make a decision, you might have this same thought, but if I make a decision that I'm going to go do something, I don't care what kind of mood I'm in tomorrow or the next day or 2 months later. Like, if that's a real goal, if that's something that I decided that we're going to go do that, it doesn't matter what mood I'm in, and because of that, because of a history of that, for quite a half of my life, depending on the context, because of a history is like, when I set a goal, I don't worry about my short-term emotions. I just worry about the outcome, and I just got to wake up and chip away a little bit every day. How do we get closer to that outcome? And about the time you make that decision that I'm going to go do whatever, I'm going to accomplish this goal, whatever that might be for you. About the time you make the decision that I'm going to go do it no matter what, I don't care what kind of mood I'm in. If I'm not in state, no problem. If I'm not in the right, no problem. I'll just use my discipline. If I don't feel it, no problem if I don't feel like it. I'll acknowledge that I don't feel like it, and then I'm going to go do it anyway. And you do that for a little while, and you really rewire your brain. I mean, and this is not like a fuzzy thing. It's like no, that's what the neuroscience says. You quite literally rewire your neural pathways and your way of thinking that, well, since you're going to go do it anyway, well, you might as well be in the best mood you can while you go do the thing. And I think a lot of people, if you could just get over that first hurdle, is just, you don't need to be in the right mood. A lot of guys want to be in the right mood to go do something. I don't give a shit. That's the difference between like professional results and amateur results. Is a professional, they don't need to, it doesn't matter what kind of mood they're in. Some of you that are professionals at something, I know some of you are into computer science, legal professional, etc. Like, you don't got to be in the right mood to go do the thing. You just like, that's what you do. Imagine you're a doctor. Imagine you have an injury and you go to a fucking emergency room. You got fucking bone sticking out of your arm or some shit, and every time your fucking heart beats, a little blood squirts out. All right, and I have a pretty serious scar here, so I didn't have a broken bone, but I had an injury. Like literally, every time my heart beat, a little rainbow of blood would shoot out of there. I almost died from that. Any case, imagine you fucking show up at the emergency room in this type of situation, and the doctor's like, "Oh, hey man, I'm not in state right now." "Hey man, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm just about to go to on my lunch break, and then there's this sports game I've been meaning to check out. It's coming on right after that. But if you just fucking, you just hang tight over here, and we'll give you a fucking Band-Aid or some shit." And, if you're here in a few hours, if you're still fucking hanging in there, man, I'm gonna see what I can do for you, if I'm in the mood then. If I'm in the right mood then. If a doctor that behaved that way wouldn't be a doctor for very long, would he? And no one would be sympathetic about this. He's just like, no, he shouldn't be a doctor. All right, so, why don't you guys hold yourself to some of the same standards for, you can't do that in every area of your life. Nobody's great at everything, The people that are the best educated and the most accomplished in the room, how hard it is to be a top performer at something, and you also understand, well, to be excellent at one or two or three things, you're going to have to say no to a lot of other things in your life to have a high-level performance. So that's cool, man. But if you started there, if you started with that, like, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm going to get professional results in this area. So I don't give a shit what I feel like in the short term. I'm going to get professional results in this area. And a few real life examples of this. I had a client in July in Las Vegas. He was an Olympic swimmer. He was on the U.S. Olympic swimming team. And he said, I asked him about his routine, like, what's that like training for your swimming? He's like, well, starting at age 6, I started going to the pool 7 days a week. And, Monday through Saturday, I would go twice a day. And Sunday, only once. And he said, you wake up at 3 in the morning, you're in the pool by 3:30, you go for your fucking swim training, you do some homework, turn up at school, go through your school day, get out of school, go back for your second round of swimming, all right, do a bit more homework, and go to sleep. And then wake up again at 3 in the morning and do it again. So 13 training sessions per week for almost 20 years. And he didn't get a medal. He's on the team. He's on the team, which is extraordinary by itself, but that's not sufficient. 13 training sessions per week for, more than a decade and a half, that's not enough to get a medal for him. So, that's what a professional is. That's what it looks like. So, most people just don't want to do that. Everybody knows that, but people don't want to go through that process. And I would argue that the shortcut is that. The shortcut is, frankly, exactly what you're doing. It's just accepting that, if I want professional results in a specific area, if I want abnormally excellent results, I'm going to have to engage in some abnormal behaviors. I'm going to have to develop some excellent habits, aren't I? And, I don't give a fuck about the new trendy thing. I don't care at all about it. It's like, what is the stuff that's been working? What are the elements of psychology or logic or reason that have just been working forever for recorded history? What are the attributes that differentiate one person from another? It's not the new trendy thing. It's like, well, what's just the shit that works? And it's worked for generations and generations. The people who did X, Y, and Z got the fucking outcome that they wanted. And I just spend all my time thinking about something like that. And that's how you win championships. It's not the new trendy thing. Now you'll learn something new along the way here and there, okay? And after you're extraordinarily talented in an environment, then that creativity kicks in. That you can learn new things, and you'll see something a little bit different that nobody saw it before you. But you're not going to have a lot of original thoughts in your whole life, and neither am I, and nobody else does either. Most people die and they never had their own thought once. You think that through. You think that through. It's like we're all just repeating shit we heard somewhere else. True. And if you're not around the best sources, if you don't get access to the best sources of information, then you're repeating some erroneous shit, and you believe it to be true. That's not good. Way. It's like, no, you have to understand the base of knowledge that came before you. And if you ignore that history, well, you really don't know shit. And I don't say that in a flippant or dismissive way. It's just like, if you ignore the history of what people did before you, then the trendy thing's not going to work if you ignore that other stuff. So, is there a new trendy thing that makes sense on occasion? Yeah, I imagine so. But, Buffett, he's not been concerned about the new trendy thing. He couldn't care less about the new trendy thing. And he's, maybe the best investor in human history. Maybe the most successful investor in human history. He couldn't care shit about the new trendy thing. I just care about pragmatic knowledge. And that pragmatic, you don't have time to assess the new trendy thing. The new trendy thing, if you focused on the fundamentals, you have so much dope shit happening that, I don't know, you fuck the new trendy thing. It's kind of irrelevant. So I would just tell you, if you focus there, you'd have better outcomes, and you would increase your certainty about what you're up to. You'd have better outcomes, and you'd have a great foundation to have even better and better and better outcomes. It'd be just a stronger foundation to grow on versus whatever I don't know what the new trendy thing is, but it's probably bullshit. When I think in a business context, well, what are the areas that I really have a competitive advantage? Going back to to the root of your question of, what's the shit that really leads to outcomes? Is I'm not going to. I'm very good at math. I was naturally gifted at math as a child. I was very good at it, and I took a lot of time to study mathematics, and I'm really quite good at mathematics. Some people are probably better than me. It's not very many. So I don't think I have any advantage, though, mathematically. What advantage do I have over a computer program? I just don't. There's a whole country called India full of programmers that are, they're better programmers. They're better at programming a system than I am at doing some math in my head. So it would be very foolish of me to think that I'm probably a 1 in 10,000 or 1 in 15,000 event in terms of mathematically gifted. That doesn't mean shit. A computer can do all that better than I can. And so, somebody who is equally talented as I am at mathematics, or even dumber than me, can program the computer to do it better than me. So I have no advantage there. It's silly to think that you have an advantage there. And I have a good finance education. It's silly to think that I have a tremendous advantage there. There's 10,000 other people that they understand what I understand about finance. But those are great to have those fundamentals in my head. You know what I know that they don't know? I'm a better psychologist. I'm a very fucking good psychologist. I think I understand a lot of things about human nature and human behavior and decision making that in some cases that no one else on earth understands better than me. And that's not cocky, it's just true. in a finance or investing world, you can't do the math part better than the algorithm, but you could understand human behavior better than the algorithm. You can understand how humans behave in stressful situations, or the series of behaviors. All the little shit that we're concerned about, all our ancestors had their own version of it. We just have more technology. It's all the shit. You're still a caveman, bro. You still have caveman programming in your head from evolution that, we're still doing the same shit on autopilot, a lot of us. It's just a new permutation of the same pattern. New permutation of the same old shit. That's what the humans do. And if you understood, if you had a fundamental understanding of the finance, accounting, economic side, you don't have to be an extraordinary expert in those areas, If you had a community college level education, you don't have to go to University of Chicago. If you had a community college education and a basic proficiency about finance, accounting, economics, but you were a rather exceptional psychologist, you understood this stuff well, man, you make a lot more money than the fucking Nobel Prize winner finance dude. And I don't say that with any disrespect to him, but it's just actually true. It's just actually true. If you understood the fundamentals there, but you understood the human side better than those nerds do, there's a lot more money there. That's where all the money is. It's where all the money is.